We're here for RedEye's Pop Person of the Year, talking to Joe Swanberg about his favorite neighborhood spots in Chicago. Hey Joe, how's it going today?
Good, how are you?
Good.
We're at my favorite.
This is your absolute
favorite. Just the hop leaf. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's probably like my favorite square footage place in the world. If I could only eat or drink at one place in the universe, I would pick the hop leaf.
It's a pretty impressive and bold statement.
I spend a lot of time here. I'm here multiple times a week. It's just great. I can walk here from my house. It's always has good beer on tap. They recently doubled in size, so they have twice as many beer taps now. It just keeps getting better. The food's great. There's nothing wrong with this place.
What are some of your favorite beers to order here? I know it's always changing.
It is always changing. Well, they often have 3 Floyd Zombie Dust on tap here, which is like my all-time favorite IPA. I tend to try, I actually tend to not, I tend to drink American craft stuff, not the Belgian stuff, even though they have an incredible selection of Belgian beers here. So, they usually have a Metropolitan beer on tap. They're often getting good stuff from Half Acre and Revolution. So, it's like, it's nice to come here and just drink Chicago stuff. And then, I don't know, they do a good job. They get a lot of good West Coast stuff, like Firestone Walker stuff. And they've had some good Deschutes stuff recently. I don't know, they like have good relationships, so they tend to get really limited beers here. So I usually when I come in, if there's nothing that I'm dying to try, I'll drink a Zombie Dust, but often I'm just like looking at the menu and seeing what they, only one keg of it came to Chicago and it's here, and I'm an adventurous beer drinker, so I'm typically just trying to drink something I may never get to try again.
Did anything about Hop Leaf inspire drinking buddies for you or inform any of the scenes?
Well, definitely. I mean, it was just a big part of my education in the craft beer scene, and I don't know, I just feel like it's the Chicago beer mecca in terms of like any night of the week you're going to find the best stuff on tap here. So when I first started getting into beer, this was the place where I was coming just to even like learn the names of different breweries and different styles of beer and things like that. So yeah, over the last 5 years, it's just been really an important place for me in my discovery of sort of how vast and amazing the American craft beer scene is, and to a lesser extent the Belgian craft beer scene. But yeah, we ended up I didn't shoot any scenes for Drinking Buddies here, partially because I didn't want the space. I just didn't want the responsibility of having to portray the space accurately. I love this place so much that I was worried I would fuck it up, or like somebody on the crew would break something or whatever. I didn't want to taint it by like trying to shoot a scene from the movie here. So it's just kind of like, that's how sacred it is to me, is that it's like was off limits. So we shot at the Empty Bottle and we shot at some other places that I also really love, but those places were less holy to me, and I felt like I could risk alienating those people in a way that like I couldn't. If I couldn't come to the Hop Leaf for one reason or another, I might just have to move out of Chicago. Like, it would be heartbreaking to me.
Yeah. So do you have any new projects that you're working on right now?
I do. My new film, Happy Christmas, I'm editing right now, and it'll be announced tomorrow, but it's heading to Sundance in January.
Oh,
congratulations. So thank you.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so I'm desperately now finishing that.
Oh yeah, that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah. And then I'm writing a movie for Fox Searchlight. That's just a development deal, so I'm in the process of working on that script right now, and hopefully that's something I'll be shooting next year.
Cool. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Okay, cool. We're gonna head on to Brew Camp next. Stay tuned.
Everybody!
Pleasure, yeah.
Heard a lot of great things about you, and we're excited to have you.
Really? Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we've made it to Brew Camp with Joe. Tell us what you normally buy here. This place looks like a...
This is where I buy all my homebrewing supplies now. I used to go to Brew and Grow, and then when I moved into this neighborhood, Brew Camp is now walking distance from my house. So I have a 3-year-old son. I'll push him in his stroller here, and then I'll, you know, it's got a little carrying thing under the stroller. I'll load it up with my supplies and push it back home.
So does he help you pick out the stuff?
No. The last time we were in here was Halloween, and there was a bucket of candy, so he just ate candy while I did my beer supply shopping.
Perfect.
But this is a great addition to the neighborhood. It's great to have this walking distance. If I need anything at the last minute, even while I'm brewing, I can run over here in 10 minutes and pick up something if I forgot, or, you know, it's really nice. Nice to be able to walk to my brew supply place.
Well, when you're going shopping, like if you had an unlimited budget on an ideal trip, like what's one crazy thing that you'd love to buy here?
I'm about to buy a kegging setup, you know, a kegerator and some of these guys right here. So this will be those will be high on my post-Christmas shopping list. Yeah, I still need a wort chiller. You know, I mean, I'm basically multiple years into the brewing thing, still brewing with all the same equipment that my wife got me when I initially started brewing. So now is the time to upgrade to all grain and also kegging and all that sort of stuff. So 2014 is going to be big for me.
Cool. That's awesome. All right, well, we're going to head over to the Davis next.
One more beer.
Oh no, I'm fine. No, baby, I gotta go.
Good night, Kate. We'll see you at work.
We're at our third spot here. We made it to the Davis Theater on Lincoln Avenue. Is this one of your favorite places to watch a movie?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love this movie theater because it reminds me of going to see movies as a kid. Like, it's not stadium seating. All the screens are a little wonky. Like, it's so charming to me, and it's still really cheap, and it's walking distance from my house. Like, it's really one of my favorite things to do is just, you know, if I have a night free, my wife and I alternate nights that we put my son to sleep. So if it's like not my night to put him to sleep, I'll just check at the last minute and see what's showing, and then I'll just walk over here and catch a movie. And it's just something so nice about having this theater be in the neighborhood and feeling like it's keeping up the kind of old school tradition of movie theaters.
What were some of the movies that inspired you when you were making Drinking Buddies?
Well, the big one was Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice, Paul Mazursky's movie. That was a big jumping off point for me. I was just really inspired by its, I mean, it's a really funny comedy, but it's also a really complex, interesting adult character study. Also Elaine May's The Heartbreak Kid, the original Heartbreak Kid. They remade it with Ben Stiller. But the Elaine May, Charles Grodin Heartbreak Kid is like nearly perfect, I think. It's really an amazing movie. So those were two that were really on my mind while I was like gearing up to do Drinking Buddies.
Are you known to sneak beer into the movie theater with you?
Never.
Never?
No, I actually am very distracted when I'm hearing beer bottles falling during a movie. I'm actually like pretty much a purist about going and seeing movies. Like, I tend not to get popcorn. I like to go to the Logan Theater because I don't have to sneak beer in. They actually bring a plastic cup of beer. So I'll do that. But in general, I prefer to just sit there quietly and watch the movie. You know, I mean, really the movie theater is like the closest thing I have to church now, where like I'm not checking my phone, I'm not distracted. You know, it's like one of the few places left. Even airplanes have Wi-Fi on them now. You know, I mean, it's one of the few places left where I can actually just sit there and focus on one thing for 90 minutes, which, you know, it's like a rare pleasure these days to be able to do that. So, you know, when I go see a movie, I'm enjoying the sort of motionless, quiet focus that brings.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go to one last place where you won't have to sneak in a beer either.
Great.
The Acre Tap Room.
Perfect.
No one's going home to their significant other because I no longer have one.
All right, we're here for our last stop of the day with Joe. We're at the Acre Tap Room, still on Lincoln.
Yeah, right down the street from the Davis Theater. It's a classic move for me to see a movie at the Davis and then walk over here for beers afterwards. It's a great 1-2 punch.
It is a great 1-2 punch. I've actually never been in this space before.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
How long have you been coming here?
Since they opened. I mean, it's really, I love what they did. They basically created this like cool open hangout room vibe. You can bring food in here. They always have something good on tap. It's all their stuff. Mm-hmm. And Half Acre's making some of the best beer in the country, so it's really a total treat to have this walking distance from my house and to be able to pop in any night of the week, get a growler filled up, try whatever new thing they've got. Often they've got like firkins with, super limited rare things that they've tried. It's a great space.
So obviously Drinking Buddies was filmed at Revolution and based partially on Revolution. Did you draw inspiration from Half Acre as well?
I did. Olivia Wilde's character in the movie, Kate, is based on, her job is based on my friend Kate, who works at Half Acre. So Half Acre was a big inspiration in the making of Drinking Buddies, and actually their brewery is really beautiful and was certainly something that we looked at and would have liked to film in, but they're just super busy and their space isn't nearly as big as the space at Rev. So I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did, and Half Acre has continued to be super supportive of the movie. They were really helpful. They gave us a lot of beer to drink in the movie, and they've just been always very generous and open. So yeah, I mean, the Chicago beer community in general is a really amazing, open, accessible community. I feel like the making of Drinking Buddies was possible because all of the small breweries in Chicago are so cool and we're sort of willing to help out. I don't know how we would have done it. If Rev hadn't been generous enough to let us use their space, we would have been in big trouble. If Half Acre and Three Floyds and even some of the Michigan breweries like Founders and Bell's hadn't been so helpful and sent us a bunch of beer, and also like Three Floyds especially helped us. They sent us signage and art to put around the different bar locations, and I don't know, everybody just like chipped in and was really cool about it, and the movie's a lot better because of that.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like great steps toward a potential new career for you too.
Well, hopefully not. Actually, I'm very happy to have beer never be a career.
Yeah.
It's the quickest way to like kill something that you love. I learned with movies, I still love movies, but you sort of like, you want to be a filmmaker because you love watching movies, and then when you start making them, it sort of ruins the experience of being able to watch them, or you inherently watch them in a different way. And so with beer, I would love to retain as much of the magic as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to be a better home brewer in general, but I am hoping never to work in the beer industry.
Yeah.
I just would like to be a fan, a cheerleader from the outside.
Fair enough. So we stopped at 4 of your favorite places today. If we had more time, what are some of your other spots in the neighborhood that you love to hit?
If we had more time, we would have gone to the Logan Theater. We would have gone to Revolution Brewery, their production brewery, and also their brew pub, where I just had dinner last night. We would have gone to some places down in Pilsen, like Nightwood, which I really love, Lula Cafe. If you can't tell, I like to eat good food and drink good beer, and watch movies. That's those are my spots. Trying to think where else you would typically find me. Owen and Engine on Western, which is also right across the street from a movie theater. So that's another 1-2 punch.
Perfect.
Where I'll eat dinner at Owen and Engine, go see a movie at City North, and then go back to Owen and Engine for drinks afterwards. It's like, typically I'm like either at home being a dad, or if I'm out, if I'm left to my own devices, I'm eating food, watching movies, and drinking beer.
Awesome. That's a perfect combination. Well, cheers, and
Cheers.
thank you so much, Joe. It's
You're
been
very
great
welcome.
traveling the neighborhood with you.
Happy to share some of my spots.